What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson. We're waiting for one more, but we haven't done this since the season got going. Last time we did this was on roster 53 breakdown day. Since
Oh
then, we
yeah.
started 2-0 and managed to fall to 4-10. It's a very Washington type season, so I had to get the Avengers on with me. Rico, how we feeling right now, man?
What's good, man? Just happy to be here, happy to talk ball again. It's crazy it's been that long. This season feels like it went by so fast. It's crazy.
Just yesterday we were 2-0, right? It'd be like that in Washington land. What's going on, Ed? How are you feeling at 4-10, my boy?
What's good, fellas? It's terrible, but 3 games left of Rivera. I can't wait for it to be over, man. It's about time.
It's about like LeBron said after his first ring. It's about damn time. It's about damn time. We got 3 more weeks of the Ron Rivera era here in DC. The Commanders turn into the Wizards this year, pretty much. We're trying to compete with wins with the Wizards right now, and we got 3 games left. Our most winnable game left on the schedule this week. Before we do kind of a retrospective and summarize how we got to this point, how are we feeling about these last 3 weeks of the season? Are y'all like me on the let's please lose out and go 4-13, or are you still trying to show some fight and maybe sneak a victory or something? I'm gonna start with you, Ed.
No, it's all about draft capital. We've been here before.
Right.
I'm not here for the moral victories and all that. They need to get the best draft capital they can get. We need to get the highest pick we can get so we can get the best player available and start the new regime off right with the best pick. We've been in this situation before. It's meaningless games. We're not going to beat the Niners anyway. And in Dallas, they'll be playing for a playoff position. So we're not going to win that game anyway. This Jets game is kind of weird. So anything can happen. It could fool around and be a 3-3 tie. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened with the Jets.
It's going to be nasty. 32nd ranked defense versus the 32nd ranked offense is going to be nasty work on Sunday, Christmas Eve, and we're not going to be able to see Rodgers. Before I get to Rico, who else could it be but our guy Louie T, the lead commander of the new Howell order? We're going to have some things to talk about when it comes to that. How you feeling, my guy?
Hey, man, I've seen better days, bro. This season can't be over fast enough. Can we just get to the offseason, please?
It feels like the slowest month of football ever. We've been in like a standstill pattern since the beginning of November. Honestly, since the Bears game, since the Thursday night Bears game, most of us pretty much saw it was the end in October. That was that first week of October.
Look, man, I'm an optimist, so it was the Seahawks game for me. That was the last straw. Like, we got a chance to get back to 500. And, Sam took us down the field and got the game tied up, and the defense gave it away in a matter of seconds. And that felt like the last gasp for the team, because after that, they stunk it up against the Giants, got blown out by the Cowboys and the Dolphins. And it just felt like whatever they had left in the tank, it was gone after that Seahawks game.
We've had a lot of things happen since that Seahawks game. Dallas ate turkey on us with 7 minutes left on the clock. The Dolphins are playing roller coaster, planned touchdown celebrations in the end zone. We've fired a long snapper at the end of the season like it matters. Only these storylines come with being a Washington fan. Rico, you want to lose out too, right? We're playing draft position roulette at this point, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't have any pride in the difference in being a 4-win team or a 5-win team. And I don't think people understand how crucial this Jets game can really be, because we have the number 4 overall pick right now. If we lose and the Cardinals and Patriots win, we can move all the way up to 2. If we win, there's a scenario where we fall all the way to 9. So please lose. I'm sorry. I hate to say it, but man, I want that draft pick. It makes us a more attractive destination for the next GM, next head coach, everything.
Hell yeah. It makes the whole situation better. And with the weird subcategory of how strength of schedule fluctuates each week based on the teams on each people's schedule, we can end up 2 or 3 somehow. Like, it could get real messy. Imagine if the Carolina Panthers go on a heater to end the season and the Bears aren't even picked at number 1 in the draft. That opens up doors that we never thought were possible for this team. Lou, do we lose out these games, or in new Howell order fashion, do you need to see Sam go out and gut you out of victory before the season?
Oh man, I just want him to play well. I don't care if we win or we lose, we tie. It doesn't really matter to me. I just want him to play well, and I don't know if I'm going to get that, to be honest with you. When you're looking at the defenses on the schedule that's left, and the way that this team is played and the staff and everything, I don't see it happening. But I think we're gonna beat the Jets, unfortunately. Really, like, that is so Washington, right? Like, so one thing we don't want them to do is win, and I just got a feeling they're gonna win on Sunday. The only thing that could stop us from winning the game, because I told everybody, like, Rodgers isn't coming back. Like, there's no reason. They're 5-9. The Jets stink. There's no reason for him to come back. And he's already said he's not coming back. And Zach Wilson has a concussion. Now, will he make it out of protocol? Don't know. But if you want to win, you want Zach Wilson out of concussion protocol. If he doesn't play, I mean, look, I'm not saying we've made stars out of lesser quarterbacks, right? So Trevor Siemian can give us work. Yeah. It's not out of the realm of possibility. We made Tommy DeVito into a folk hero. Like, it wouldn't shock me if we made Trevor Siemian have a Drew Lock experience where he's like, man, I never thought I would get another one of these, in my career, right? A win, it's been a long time type shit. But at the end of the day, this team is so frustrating. I've been outside for Sam probably since the Seahawks game. I was outside for Sam, and that's all I'm outside for. So he could play extremely well, throw 3 touchdown passes, throw for 350, and we lose. Perfect storm.
It would be the perfect storm, and it's been quite some time since we've seen that, man.
Oh, yeah.
We can go ahead and segue into that in just a second. Shout out to Scotty. Moving day is on January 8th. Absolutely. Call the moving trucks, man. 2 Marines in a truck, Beacons, Allied, Mayflower. You get them all lined up at Redskins Park, because a lot of guys are going to need them. If Sam plays, we lose. Jesus Christ. But yeah, we're gonna go from Sam to EB, and we're gonna start with Sam though. His last good game was versus Seattle, and he looked good. He did everything in his power for us to win, and the defense did what the defense does here in DC. But since then, it's been really, really bad for our guy. He's thrown more interceptions than touchdown, has 3 pick sixes in this time being, and Washington just scored 20 on Sunday for the first time since November 12th, and the 20 didn't come from Sam Howell. 14 of them Jones came from Brisket, Jacoby Brisket, when he came in hot at the end of the 4th quarter. You can call it a surge, you could call it garbage time, call it what you want. Sam EB in the offense has almost met the defense halfway on being ass for these last 5 weeks of football. We went from 4-5 to 4-10, and there might not be another W in sight. Has Sam Howell, how different has your opinion on Sam Howell changed, and has he been given a fair shot this season? We know he has thrown the ball way too much for a first-year starter in an offense. Ed, tell me about Sam Howell. Did he get a fair shot? And what is your objective Sam Howell opinion heading into the offseason?
I like Sam a lot. I think, unfortunately, he might be going through like a Patrick Ramsey kind of thing where he's just gotten sacked and hit so much and so much pressure where he's just running out of pocket quick. Like, I think the last straw was the interception, of course, where he had Antonio Gibson on the right side open. He had Terry in the middle open, and he just waited too long. He ran outside, threw it, got tipped. Terry put his hands on it. Could he have caught it? Would have been a tough catch. Ended up being an interception. But I think he's had an okay season. For him to be asked to drop back so much, no run game, mediocre offensive line, offensive coordinator. This is Eric Bieniemy's first time not being with the Chiefs, so it's a whole different situation. But I think the last 3 games, he's had some rough games, 3 pick sixes in a row, rough game against the Rams. He's going through. He's not a rookie, but this is his second season in the NFL. So it's a lot of growing pains. It's a lot of things we expected. Some up and down games. Both Eagles games, he looked really good. The Patriots game, he looked really good. He's had some really good games under his belt, but he's had to do so much and put a lot on his shoulders too. But I think right now he's just not. There's some things he's not seeing. And Ron said that he wanted to. I forgot what Ron said, but he said he kind of wanted to save him or something like that. But I think he really wanted to see another quarterback in there. And then Jacoby coming in, things look different, man. Like we saw Terry down the field. I think him and Terry just not clicking right now for whatever reason. Terry's dropping passes when he's in there with Sam, and now he caught a big catch with Jacoby. Jacoby gave, he's running cardio and whatnot. And then now with Jacoby, he gets a chance down the field. So that's one thing that I think Sam is not giving Terry those opportunities down the field. So that was something interesting to see. But overall, I think Sam has had a solid season. I think he's kind of getting a little punch drunk out there right now. He's just gotten hit so much. But he's starting to make some mistakes, some rookie mistakes out there. And I think Ron pulled him to see what they could get from a different quarterback. I think it kind of was pointless this late in the season. Like the season's over. There's really no point in doing it. But I think Ron wanted to see what he could get from Jacoby. But overall, I like what Sam has done. But I think right now the new regime is definitely going to get a different quarterback. But I think there's some good games he had, and then both Giants game he struggled in both games. The pick sixes were bad, but I think overall he's had a good season. But the odds are 3rd and 1. You got an offensive coordinator running 4th and 1 shotgun runs, 3rd and 1 throwing a deep pass against Dallas. So the odds have not been in his favor at all.
They haven't. You want a snapshot headline of what the season's been? Just point to the goal line stand we had that took about 20 minutes real time to punch the ball in from the 1 yard line on Sunday. That shit was embarrassing. Sam wasn't even on the field, but we're going to get to that offensive coordinator in a second. We got to all close out on the Sam points first. Rico, Sam Howell.
It's so weird because even when you're looking at the advanced stats, they're saying that Sam Howell has always been what he's been these last few games. But when you're looking at the eye test, when he had things going, he really had things going. Like at a certain point, I think even Pro Football Focus had him graded as the best quarterback in the NFL, off schedule, on the run, throwing on the run, things like that. Like he can make something out of nothing. And I just feel like with a better O-line and an actual dual threat tight end other than Logan Thomas, because Logan Thomas, once he gets a certain amount of catches, he's due for a fumble. Like that has to probably play into Eric Bieniemy's game plan. Or Sam Howell's thinking of like, let me not throw this ball to him too much because it's going to end up being a fumble at some point. So if we get him the right pieces, I think it can work. I really do. I still see some talent in him, but at the same time, I think this organization, the next regime, has the right to come in here and make whatever decision they want to make at quarterback, especially with the top pick. If they stick with Sam Howell, I'm happy because that means you use those top picks on building around Sam Howell. Also, we have a whole free agency too. So, like, if you go quarterback first round, you still have chances to still build the O-line and things like that. But Sam Howell himself, he does things you can't teach. And I feel like the things that he does wrong, we can work on, improve, and teach. It will come with time, a better O-line and things like that. And I hope these last 3 games he can show a little something enough. But I'm not too sure. It may just be too late because, like y'all brought up, PTSD. He's not going. It seemed like he was progressing through his reads a little bit better, reading defenses better as the season went on. And then at a certain point, he just fell off a cliff and just reverted back to basically day one Sam Howell when it came with that. I think that's, O-line problems and a myriad of other things mixed in. I think he can be a guy. Wouldn't be surprised if he ends up going somewhere else and becomes that guy.
Seeing like there's so many different layers to the Sam Howell conversation and how we view him and how we have to evaluate him. We kind of have to evaluate him in a snapshot vacuum sense because there's going to be a new general manager and a new coaching staff here. So we're not evaluating him like he is promised to see out his rookie contract as the starter here in Washington. But the fact of the matter is, regardless of if he's the guy going forward, he's going to be here the next 2 years. He's still under contract for free, pretty much. Like, he's a 5th-round quarterback contract. Was he going to make $900,000 to $1 million the next couple years? He's going to be here regardless. I think he played very well early. I think some of the well was the volume and how many times he was throwing the ball and the ridiculous amount of dropbacks EB has him doing as a 23-year-old second-year starter in his second offense, which is very head-scratching. I got a mouthful to say about that guy when we switch the topic, but I think Sam, like, he's done enough to appease both sides of the argument. Like, he's done enough good to say we should give him another chance. He's also done enough bad to say I would easily take a quarterback in the first round. It's like a big catch-22. Like, there's a lot of good on tape and there's a lot of we can't have that. Like, some of the things, the major points were now the interception, since he's up to 15 on the season, and the sacks he was taking. But I would argue missing wide open receivers may be the worst deficiency he does have, because you can go back to early in the season. There are a lot of plays left on the field. I still remember our opening drive of the entire season. I know it would have been not the easiest throw to make, but Bieniemy Brown might not even catch that motherfucker, but Bieniemy Brown was butt naked going up the sideline. Look at Jonathan Williams going up the field, and I believe a swing or wheel route Sunday versus the Ravens. But they can do whatever they want to when the new regime comes in. I was trolling on Twitter after the game. Pour one out for the Sam Howell era. Like, on Sundays, we get emotional when we see things in real time. But it has looked bad for our guy for a long time. Let's rein it in to close the topic. The king, the leader of the new Howell order. Are we still beating the new Howell order drum, Louie?
I mean, I am. I'm still caping for Sam because of everything that he's gone through this year. It's been a really tough situation to navigate for anybody. If you've been put in the situation that he's been put in, behind a faulty offensive line with a play caller that told us when he got here, and that's one of the issues I think I've had is I've run through a lot of, red lights, a lot of stop signs, people telling us things and not really wanting to hear it.
Yep.
And, we were told when EB got here, I don't care about anybody's stats. I just want to collectively drag our ass across the finish line. And he's proven that, right? Because I watch too many games and I watch guys who teams want to get involved, get the football. The Bengals have an injury to Joe Burrow. And, the first game Jamar Chase and Jake Browning have together where they really game plan. And Jamar Chase has 16 targets and 12 catches, right? Like, the first 3 of them were wide receiver screens, and they didn't go for anything. But the fact is, you're getting him the football. You're getting him involved in the offense, right? Mm-hmm. We're not seeing that with Eric Bieniemy. He's not even attempting. Like, if your quarterback is struggling to get the football to your playmakers, okay. Like, there's no reason for Jahan Dotson to play 71 snaps and have 1 target, and that 1 target didn't even come from Sam, right? Like, that's just insane. Yep. There was a game where Jahan Dotson had 81 snaps. He had 3 targets and 1 catch. Like, what are we talking about right now, right? Like, that makes absolutely no sense to me. But EB told us when he got here, and we just weren't listening. I don't care about anybody's stats, So it's frustrating watching what he's had to deal with the offensive line, with the play call. And we talked about the 2 Giants games in particular. That's what did it for me when I pretty much I had a 48-hour period where I went through mourning because I realized EB ain't shit. And I was lied to. And I said, damn, I fell for a hook, line, and sinker. I got. That first Giants game was as eye-opening a performance by an offensive coordinator in a negative way that as I've seen in quite some time, because what did we talk about all week long going into that game? Man, they're going to blitz us. We got to be ready. Slants, quick screens, everything that you do to break down the blitz, we got to do it. And here we are dropping Sam back, 5-step drops. They're coming after us. We can't protect. Guys are, having breakdowns in protection, and it was bad. But we didn't do anything to alleviate any of that stuff. And so you couple all of the hits he's taken. first of all, the fact that this man was averaging 42.6 pass attempts over the first 6 weeks of the season is mind-boggling. I mean, are you crazy? I mean, what are we talking about, man? Like, you gotta be kidding me. You know, I mean, it's insane what we've asked Sam to do this year, and he's responded, I think, the best he knew how to. And I think the criticism of the hits he was taking, the hits that he actually took, I think this season is just taking a physical and a mental toll on him. He needs to hit the reset button. This is very eerily similar to last year with Carson Wentz. I always say with Wentz, we failed him before he failed us. A lot of people forget. Over the first 2 games, Carson Wentz led the NFL in touchdown passes with 7, right? He was confident back there, and then the final possession in a meaningless game at that point where the Lions were up 9 because a damn kicker missed the extra point, right? Probably was a bad snap if we revisit it. It was probably a bad snap that we didn't know about, but whatever the case may be, the game was out of hand and we couldn't have won. We were down 9, and second to last play of the game, we lose our center, Chase Roulier, and it's like everything kind of fell apart there. And, you know, that next week, the Eagles sacked Wentz 87 times, and he was never the same, right? And it's kind of like what happened to Sam. Like, he got beat up. And, you know, the whole excuse Ronald gave at the end of the game was bullshit. I don't even know exactly what he said, but it was something to the effect of we were trying to protect him out there. He didn't get sacked a bunch in that game. He wasn't under duress. That was one of the better games in terms of protection that we've seen, which is when Jacoby Brissett came in. Jacoby was back there building the damn house. And that's how the play where Terry catches the deep ball, it took Terry 2.5 seconds to take the dude off. It was like he was taking off a tight-ass shirt or something. It took him 2.5 seconds to get Darion Kendrick off of him and then re-accelerate and get up the field. Jacoby was just back there.
Chilling.
All right, Terry, you open now? Let me get it to you, right? Like, it was crazy. Like, they weren't protecting Sam from, you know, any beating he was taking. They just had seen enough. And I'm like, what was the point of that? Like, you can't tell us, hey, I'm at peace with the situation because I changed the culture and I found a quarterback, and then you pull some shit like that.
Send me my ring.
Like this guy, this season can't end fast enough for me. I just think Sam needs a total reset. And look, I totally agree with what Rico said in terms of I'm all in on the next GM. Like, the biggest move this offseason is the GM.
100%.
The head coach is going to be great.
100%.
And the staff that he brings in, excellent. But the GM is the guy that's going to be the most important, because not only is he responsible for said coach, he's also going to be responsible for the players that coach will be coaching. And so I think the GM position is the biggest move we've had here in Washington from a personnel standpoint in the last 30 years. And so they have to get this right, or it'll set us back 5 to 7 years easy. So I whatever that GM wants to do, whether he wants to roll with Sam and he believes in what he's seen from Sam and just thinks he needs a reset with a different coordinator, great. If not, and he says, hey, going to get my own quarterback here, I'm fine with that too. I'm rolling with whatever that guy wants to do, because that's what I believe in. But the fastest way for a GM to get fired in this league is to hitch your wagon to a quarterback. You come in here, you draft a quarterback, that guy doesn't get it done, and that's the easiest way for you to get fired. So it'll be interesting to see if that GM, and again, obviously the pick that we have is going to go a long way in determining what that GM decides to do, because I don't know if you feel the same way about, say, a Drake May that you do a Jaden Daniels, right? You might feel really good about Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, and then there may be a drop-off for you in terms of Caleb, or Drake May and the rest of these quarterbacks, right? So where you end up in the draft could determine whether you decide to pull the trigger on a QB or not. But I'm how I am. I'm still outside for Sam. Nothing's changed. I knew these last 4 games were going to be rough. I didn't expect it to look like it did on Sunday, though. Sunday was pretty bad. That was the worst game of the season I had seen from him, because he had time. It wasn't like he didn't have time for most of the game. He had time. He just wasn't seeing the field well, because I don't know if guys are getting open. I need to watch the all 22s. I'm almost like I don't even want to watch the shit, but I need to just to see what the hell's going on. I don't even want to subject myself to that shit again, but I need to just to see what's going on. But it was bad, man. It was really bad.
It was starting to look like 2020 Haskins-ish. Like it started to get to that point, and it was hurting my feelings. Like, real, come on, Sam. But Ed, rolling into the next topic, we could talk about this damn offensive coordinator that some people are still saying deserves a shot to be the head coach of this football team. I am 1,000% out on Eric Bieniemy. I'm going to let y'all three go first, and I'm going to close the topic on it. Ed, what has the Eric Bieniemy experience been like for you through 15 weeks?
Oh, I've been done with EB. When Terry gets 3 targets for 0 yards and he comes out, he's saying he's running cardio. I've been done with EB. I was done with EB on Thanksgiving when he did the 4th and 1. He did the 3rd and 1. We threw a deep pass. Then he did the 4th and 1 shotgun run. I was like, bro, what's going on? Then last game, the whole goal line stand, he wasted the clock. It's like he didn't know any clock management at all. Ran the ball a couple times. We did the quarterback sneak with Jacoby. It didn't work, which usually works, but that didn't work. But yeah, I mean, just the whole, like, you would think he would have a better running game since, he played running back, legendary running back in Colorado. But, the running game has regressed. It hurts my heart to say that Scott Turner had a better running game plan last year. Like, when our bread and butter, when we beat the Eagles on Monday Night Football last year, it was an ugly smash mouth game. We just ran the football. B-Rob got the ball, run the football. It was 3 yards a carry, but it was working. It was time of possession, keep away. Now he's dropping Sam back. You can bet on Sam to get at least 40 attempts a game. And that's not what you should be doing with a young quarterback. It's not getting Jahan involved. Jahan gets 2 or 3 targets. The only person who really looks good in the offense that looks like natural in it really is Curtis Samuel.
Yep.
Tries to force the ball to Bieniemy Brown. Like, we were on the goal line against the Dolphins, and we try to force the ball to Bieniemy Brown. Bieniemy Brown trips and falls on the ground.
Almost dropped the ball. He didn't even catch it. Yeah.
Couldn't even get in the end zone. We're trying to force the ball to Pringle. I like Pringle, but forcing the ball to Pringle over Terry, my guy. I like Crowder, but just trying to spread the wealth too much. He thinks it's the Chiefs' offense, trying to force feed the ball to Logan Thomas. So, he's been disappointing so far, man. But the whole players thing, saying they're not going to endorse him, I do think it had to be a player of some importance. It wasn't a bench player who came out and said that. I'm not going to speculate. It might have been Terry, might have been Jahan, who knows. Players just aren't happy with their targets and what's going on with EB. He's had his moment. The Eagles games are the only games I can really look at. Probably the 2 Eagles games and the Patriots game. Those are the only 3 games I can be like, okay, EB came in with a game plan and it worked, because the Eagles pass. You see how bad the Eagles pass defense is? So I can't even give him that much credit. But yeah, he's been disappointing. The run game has been disappointing. The 3rd and 1s, the 4th and 1s have been disappointing. Just getting the ball to your best players has been disappointing. Hasn't manufactured any targets for Terry McLaurin. Nobody's really gotten better. B-Rob in the passing game, that's like the only thing I can say that improved. Brought in Andrew Wiley. That didn't work out. So that's a knock on EB there too. I got to give him a hard time. Yeah, I got to give him a hard time for that signing, because that was clearly an EB signing. So yeah, I mean, for his offense not to be much better than Scott Turner's, and just the yardage and the numbers, it's really disappointing, man. So I do think, was he given a fair shot? You get a young quarterback, you get a bad offensive line. So it's I'm not gonna say it's tough to evaluate him, but he didn't, him coming from Pat Mahomes to this situation, we knew it was going to be an uphill battle. You got a lame duck head coach in Ron Rivera. You got the worst defense in the league, so you gotta put up points. You gotta put up points because the defense is giving up points. So some of the games we were playing from behind. So, but overall, will he get a head coaching job? Probably not. The Bears report from Josina Anderson, I don't know how real that is.
Josina caping.
Yeah, I don't know how real that is. But if it's a real report, I'll be happy for him to get a job. I want to see him get a job. I thought he deserved to get a head coaching job before he came. But yeah, and Ron kind of did him dirty too, setting him up in the beginning of the season or in training camp, saying that players came to me behind his back. That was a setup move. Ron should have never said that in my opinion. So yeah, I thought that was pretty wrong on Ron Rivera's part. But overall, yeah, EB's been disappointed, man. He's been disappointed.
He's been very Rico. EB.
Yeah, even to add to Ed's point, it's crazy because on like a per run basis, I think we were like top 10 running the ball, like efficiency yards per carry wise. I think before the Dolphins game is the last time I saw it. The problem is that we have that and he just doesn't use it. Like we've actually been more efficient, but we just don't run the ball. So what does it matter? Having a good thing and not utilizing it if anything, is even worse on Eric Bieniemy. Also, as far as the players complaining, I hope that that's not a factor into like who our next head coach, business coordinator, all that stuff is. Like players, I don't want players who don't want to be coached hard, but I can see it. Like when you're winning, it's great. But when you're losing, that extra little bit of nagging and higher expectations, I can definitely see why players are sick of it. I don't hope they're not sick of the coaching style. I just hope they're sick of the situation that we're in with that coaching style. Because I can imagine like EB telling you to run extra laps, and you're like, "What is that extra lap going to do when we're going to lose by 20 anyway?" That extra lap ain't about to change the game, the outcome of the game. But back to Bieniemy, I'm also very disappointed. He felt like a home run hire coming into the season. Like thinking back to like around this time last year, we were like almost praying we would get Eric Bieniemy, and it does suck that we're to this point. Man, you can make some of the same points about Eric Bieniemy that you can make about Sam Howell. Like, man, maybe a better O-line or things like that. Maybe he would be willing to take more deep shots. But exactly to y'all's credit, we don't run the ball enough. We're not targeting our best players enough. Statistically, in a lot of ways, we've regressed compared to Scott Turner's offense, and we feel like Sam Howell should be a better quarterback than what Scott Turner had a lot of the time anyway. So it's just no excuses for Eric Bieniemy at all. And again, it's just like a whole same thing with Sam Howell. Whatever the next GM wants, I'm with. One of my biggest things with Eric Bieniemy is not even necessarily what he hasn't done, but what the next guy could do. I'm looking around the league, and of course, a lot of us want guys like Ben Johnson and a bunch of offensive masterminds out there putting on a masterclass of balanced offense, not even necessarily leaning one way dramatically, having to make up for deficits. They have a very balanced offense, can run the ball, can pass the ball, get it to all of their best players at the right moment. Receivers aren't running the same routes in the same areas. I've seen several times this season Terry McLaurin, one touchdown that Jahan Dotson caught. Him and Terry are running basically the same route.
Yes.
In the end zone. And we just have to assume. We're not there in the huddle. We're not there in the all 22 meetings and stuff like that. But I would just assume that has to be Eric Bieniemy's fault because it happens several times in the season. But again, for me, it's not even about how much I'm disappointed in Eric Bieniemy because I am. It's more so I'm just salivating over the potential of what could be in the next guy. Specifically like a Ben Johnson or the other guys out there.
Yes, sir. Louie T, talk to me about Eric Bieniemy.
Well, I could be disappointed for the both of us then, Rico, because I fell for a hook, line, and sinker, man. Yep. He felt like a savior coming in here. We remember when Terry was like eating up everything this man was saying and like, yeah, you just need a little bit more strain, a little bit more nasty. Yeah. And I'm just sitting there like, man, this is it. This is what we've been waiting on, right? We got all this talent, and this is the guy that's going to manufacture the type of offense that we've been waiting on with this team for ages, right? And we were promised so many things this offseason. Like, first and foremost, Eric Bieniemy's offense is supposed to be a variation of the West Coast offense. So a lot of quick passes, a lot of getting the ball into your playmakers' hands quickly, a lot of screen game. I thought they would mix in some RPOs and things of that nature. We haven't seen any of that. We haven't seen any RPOs. The screen game is so erratic, and we'll go 2 weeks without a single screen, and then we'll run one screen just for the sake of saying, hey, we ran a screen, right? We don't get playmakers the football, right? We again, like Ed said, this whole notion of like, I don't want to hear about Sam Howell's targeted 11 different guys and have completed passes to 9 different receivers. I don't care about that, right? I want to get the ball in the hands of guys that can actually do something with it, that can actually make a difference. And so no knock on Byron Pringle or Jamison Crowder or John Bates, but I'm really want to get the ball to Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and Curtis Samuel, right? Antonio Gibson as a receiver out of the backfield. We were told he was going to have a big role, right? Not exactly, right? Curtis Samuel, man, we're going to use him in a multitude of ways. I hadn't seen him in the backfield get a touch since like week 4. He just got one the first play of the game against the Rams, right? They worked on that all week too, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Ran it once, got 6 yards. We didn't see it again, right? Like they worked all week for that 6-yard gain, and we just never saw it again, right? Didn't even do anything off of that, right? So the thing that has been the most frustrating with Eric Bieniemy is, and I can get into all the things like the situational awareness. That was my biggest knock on Scott Turner, right? It was just the lack of situational awareness.
Mm-hmm.
With Eric Bieniemy, the biggest issue for me has been his unwillingness. And I'm philosophically, this is my belief. This is how I feel as a fan. If you have a coordinator that prioritizes his scheme over players, I have a problem, because that's what Scott Turner was, right? Scott Turner was a scheme first guy. Like, my scheme comes first. You guys have to fall in line and figure out where you are and what your place is in my scheme. And that frustrates me, because when you do that, you don't care who gets the football. You're not putting your playmakers in the best positions. You're just like, hey, this is where you line up. You're the third read in this progression. If we get to you, cool. If we don't, sorry, right? And that's bullshit. And that's why we've gotten to the position we've gotten to with Terry. And like, I wish Sam was at a stage where I'm watching games over the weekend and I see all-out pressure on Brock Purdy. And he's been in Kyle Shanahan's offense for 2 years, so he's very comfortable, making checks at the line of scrimmage and things of that nature. Sam's not there yet. Nope. So I would love it if he sees all-out pressure coming. There was an exact example of this on Sunday against the Rams, where we get all-out pressure, and it's 3rd and 7. And they give us the all-22 copy on the replay, and I'm thinking, why didn't Sam get rid of this, right? Like, why is he about to take a sack here? And then they show the 3 dudes running routes on the play, and they all running 15 back to 12 curl routes. Bro, it's 3rd and 7, and they bring in 6 dudes on a pressure. We don't have time for 15 yards back to 12. Like, where's the slant? And so Brock Purdy gets the same look against the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday, goes to the line of scrimmage, does one of these numbers, tells George Kittle, hey, run the slant, bro. They come with the pressure, throws the slant to George Kittle. They get a big gain out of it. And I'm just like, why don't we do that, right? We knew the Giants were going to blitz us in week 7. Terry said we waited too long to get to the deep shots. We had it all day. It was there. They've been giving us one-on-one all day. We got Deontay Banks over here thinking he's a lockdown corner, talking shit after the game like he's him and he could get this work. But we waited until the end of the 3rd quarter to take our first deep shot. Like, where's the psychological sense in that? And to Rico's point, there have been games where Brian Robinson is averaging 7 yards a carry. He was killing the Buffalo Bills. We just didn't run the football enough in that game. He was averaging 7.2 yards a carry in that game. There have been games where Brian Robinson is absolutely killing it, and we refuse to feed him the rock. And you just go, why did you stop running the ball? But then there's the second Giants game or the Bears game where we come out and we go out of our way to run the ball against teams whose secondary stinks, and we got a chance to pick them apart, and we want to run the ball all of a sudden. We got this attack of conscience where we need to run the football. I'm like, when you're playing a team that you're better than or you perceive yourself to be better than, you don't want to shorten the game. That's what that's what we did against Philadelphia last year. When you know the team you're playing against is better than you, you want to shorten the game. You want to run the football. You want to establish time of possession. We were playing the Giants. You don't want to shorten the game against the Giants. That's how you give them a chance to beat you. You should be trying to throw the football. The 1 week we should be throwing the ball, now we want to run it, but now we want to ground and pound it. Make up your damn mind. What are we doing? Establish some type of identity. He's never done that. He doesn't. I've said this about him all year long. This has been really frustrating for me. It doesn't feel like a cohesive game he's calling. It just feels like he's just calling random shit off of his sheet. Let's see. I haven't called this one, have I?
Mhm.
No, I ain't called this one yet. I'm gonna just call this one real quick. See what happens. And then, like, you're setting things up. You're supposed to be setting things up throughout the course of a game, right? One play should lead into the next play, or hey, we got to look here. We're gonna store that away for later. We're gonna come back to that because I could see us getting something off of that look that they gave us if we just do a little something here with it, right? And we don't run anything that builds off of anything else. Again, I'm saying the same shit I said about Scott Turner, right? The only difference I felt like with EB that was slightly better was the red zone efficiency was much better under him. And then I thought the Rams, the end of the Rams game was a microcosm of EB's entire, like just this coaching staff in general's entire year, and really Ron's entire tenure here. But EB lumped in this year, which is with 9 minutes to go, down 21, you bench the quarterback and bring in Jacoby Brissett. Okay, that makes absolutely no sense. But that's some shit that this staff would do, right?
Washington shit, man.
Right, absolutely. Right. So you scored a touchdown and you get the ball back and you get all the way down. And I was pissed off at Terry because I'm like, bro, you got to score. Like, you have no idea that, like, you got to stretch that bitch out. That wasn't a hard, I got to score. Like, I'm like, bro, you don't want 2 touchdowns in one game? When's the last time you done that? Here's an opportunity because they ain't giving it to you again after you just get down to the 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, bro, you had to
that was his first touchdown since like October.
Bro, he don't score. That's one thing about Terry. I love him to death. He don't score touchdowns though. He don't score touchdowns. So, and again, that could be on the play caller because I'm thinking Terry can run a slant, right? We get to the 3-yard line, you can run a slant with Terry and throw it to him, right? I mean, whatever. I digress. I think we make it a lot harder than we need to. But the lack of urgency, the poor. So this is the thing that kills me with EB. We love to throw the football in short yardage situations. This is the time you need to throw it, right? Because a stop run play is going to kill 40 seconds of the clock. And we had no urgency. And the Rams don't have any urgency. If I stop you, I'm taking every second I can to get up off this pile. I'm going to make sure that this takes forever. There's no way you get to the 1-yard line and it takes you 2 minutes to score, right? 2 minutes of game time. We got down there with 4:47. We didn't score until, it was 3 minutes. It took us till 1:51 to score. Like, that's insane, right? You'd think he would be throwing a football, but no, he's running it. Like, if you're going to run a Jacoby Brissett quarterback sneak, it should have been on the first play. We were at the 1.
1 yard
lost yards
6'4"
on the run. On the second, the first run to the rookie running back,
Rodriguez.
He lost a yard.
His bum ass.
He's so mid.
Another EB pick too. He begged the
mid.
table for him.
He's super mid, but I digress. At the end of the day, EB has been so disappointing. His inability, like, I'll just leave you with this thought. EB was bought here, not to have an offense run by a 10-year veteran that we already know what he's capable of in this league in Jacoby Brissett. He was here to run an offense that would accentuate the strengths and talents of one Sam Howell, right? And what he effectively did was he came here and he never adapted and adjusted to the environment. You got here and you were hoping this offensive line would be good enough. It wasn't. You got here and you saw the weapons. You hoped the tight end position was going to be better than it was. It wasn't. The receivers they're good, but they struggle to separate sometimes, this, that, and the third. All right, adjust, right? Figure it out. He never made the proper adjustments. He never utilized the run game the way that it could have been utilized because, again, as Rico said, the run game has actually been very solid this season. When they've run it and they've stuck to it and they've had a plan with the run, we've actually been not half bad in that department, but his inability to be consistent with the run game, hearing guys like Sam Cosmi say, hey, it felt good to run it 3 times in a row. We don't even know what that feels like. Like, when dudes say shit like that, you don't think they having conversations about the bullshit that they're doing out here? You think offensive linemen want to drop back and protect 52 times like they did in a row against the Bears? You think they want to do that? Like, it's insane watching Eric Bieniemy call a game because it just nothing vibes together. Everything just is disjointed and displaced, and I'm so disappointed in what we got with him this year. I really am.
Same.
I know Real want to say ask Madden.
Oh my God. Ask Madden. Yes. So the way I see EB as an offensive coordinator, if you watch gamers on Twitch or on YouTube, they do these things called blind playthroughs when they play a video game. That means it's your first time doing it. You have no plan and you figure shit out on the fly. You know, you don't want any backseat gaming from the people in the chat. You're just trying to figure out what you're doing on the fly. That feels like how EB calls a game each week. It feels like he does not care what the defense is showing him. He has a play sheet. He's going to stick to it. He's not going to adjust anything. And he's just figuring shit out on the fly. And he doesn't care. He doesn't prioritize the playmakers, the money makers of the offense. It's just, this is my plan and this is what we're going to do. Benjamin Albright posted an article right around the time when we were interviewing Eric Bieniemy about how disastrous his tenure of a play caller when he was the Colorado OC back in like 2011, 2012. They said it was like a cataclysmic disaster. His offense wasn't digestible for the guys. The players hated him, and he was fired after 2 years of calling the plays. That was his only time with play calling duties in his coaching career. He was coordinating motivational and morale coaching in Kansas City and calling Andy Reid's plays. This is his first time in the. But coming from Kansas City, we just believed all the hype. He was everything we needed. He was this splashy, sexy hire. We rolled out the red carpet for this man like we hired a new head coach, and we kind of placated a dual head coach system. We let him dictate the practice times. We let him dictate the pace in the flow of practice, and they let him chew out every motherfucker on the roster all year. It is okay to be a hard ass. It's okay to be an old school coach and cuss guys out. But I believe you need to establish your system and show guys that what you do works before you can bring that hard ass style. You can't just come in day one yelling at dudes. I guarantee you the guys that they said were complaining about him were guys that we all know and love. I bet you it was the better players on the offense who wanted no parts of EB early on, and they feel very not in love with EB. Like Terry was the teacher's pet, like Louie said when EB first got here. Terry don't really look like he's too big of a fan of EB at this point. But I'm out on EB. And I'm not just out on him as a head coach. I don't see why he should get another offensive coordinating, play calling job anywhere else in the league. If that is what you choose to do, I pray you have a veteran quarterback, because could you imagine EB with someone like Bryce Young trying to drop him back 50 times a week? He might get him put in the ground. That's right. He might get him put through the stadium in front of their 7 fans in Carolina, because this guy, he's bad. And at this point, if you're defending EB at this point, it just feels to me like just pure blind fandom. It's kind of like how Kanye West fans to this day still put up with his antics and pretend that his music was as good as it was 15 years ago. It's not, but you're going to blindly follow it because you sold yourself on a dream, and you cannot believe that what you wanted in a guy did not come into fruition. Completely out on Eric Bieniemy. I know you got to go, Ed. Before you go, I want you to sign off with your full ending comments on Ron Rivera's tenure and 4 years here as the head coach, de facto president of the Commanders.
I got to hit you with the guys. I got to hit you with that with Ron. But yeah, man. One thing I'll say, I was thinking this because I gotta, I'm thinking about what I'm going to say when he does get fired.
You're right.
Stay and stuff like that. His key card not working. I'm gonna enjoy that. The Jamal Adams video where he walks up to the office and it's not working. He can't get into the building. But yeah, Ron, I will say he came into a tough situation. He changed the culture coming from Jay Gruden and Bruce Allen. I'll say he did some good things as far as that. I respect him as a man and as a person. and all that. But he should have been fired last year. I knew they weren't going to fire him, but when he didn't know we could be eliminated from the playoffs and he started Carson Wentz instead of Taylor Heineke, he should have been fired after that game. That's when he should have been fired. But him fighting through cancer and all that stuff, I give him a lot of credit for that. But as far as drafting all the Panthers, all the former Panthers players that he signed, like Norwell, Trey Turner, some of the draft picks. I mean, Forbes, he overdrafted Jamin Davis because he liked him because he's a military guy, military kid, and all that. So, yeah, Ron definitely had a lot of blunders here, man. He did. He had a lot of blunders. Is one of the worst press conference guys I've ever seen in my life as a coach. Just talks way too much, says too much, way too honest. But yeah, I'm happy that the Ron Rivera era is finally coming to an end. It's gonna be a holiday for me when he gets fired. I'm gonna be super excited. And man, wow, like this roster, like people say he made the roster better than what it was before Jay Gruden was here. And honestly, it's tough because the best players on the team he didn't draft. Terry McLaurin was here before him. Deron Payne was here before him. John Allen was here before him. A lot of the best players on the team were here before Ron Rivera was here. And he never got the offensive line right. That was one of his blunders, signing too many Panthers guys. And on the defense too, like bringing guys like Thomas Davis was only 1 year thing, but still just all the too many Panthers guys and just the evaluation, Marty Hurney, Martin Mayhew, him being at the top. I mean, I could go all day about this. That's why when he does get fired, I know we're going to go crazy and make a bunch of videos about it, but man, there's so many ways he went. Signing Fitzpatrick, so many ways he went wrong.
Man, that's what Ron do, man. And you got to slide out for the night. Appreciate you for coming by, my boy.
Thank you, fellas. Y'all have a good
Hey,
one.
be easy, man. Take care of yourself. Happy holidays too, man. To you and yours.
Sir. Happy holidays. We'll definitely do this again in the off season to reign in a new era in DC.
Yes, sir. Peace.
All right. Next topic I want to roll into with us is Ed mentioned the words drafting. Let's talk about this stank-ass 2023 draft class. But honestly, it's just the whole collection of draft classes Ron has had since he's been here. Starting with our first-round pick this year, Emmanuel Burnt Toast Forbes, who played 6 snaps on Sunday. Ron's latest press conference blunder was telling us that he wanted to play Quan Martin over Forbes at corner. You know, Quan Martin that they drafted to be a safety nickel adjacent guy. He's playing over the first round corner you drafted to be your number 1 cornerback. How disappointing has Emmanuel Forbes' rookie year been, Rico?
I mean, it's been very disappointing, but honestly, the majority of my hate goes towards Ron Rivera. And Ed brought up a lot of great points. But I think the thing that makes me the most upset about Ron Rivera and the thing that I'm going to be the happiest with what he's gone, even beyond the press conferences and saying too much and clock management, all kinds of bad stuff. The inconsistencies was making me want to pull my hair out because we cut Danny Johnson. I was like, okay, cool. Danny Johnson, cutting him doesn't improve your secondary. Right. It doesn't improve your chances of winning. That's clearly like, okay, let's play the young guys. Let's see what they got. Let's do the next regime a favor. See what this Blue Kelly gig can do. Give Quan Martin more snaps. Supposed to give Emmanuel Forbes more snaps. Then we get to the Rams game, and Emmanuel Forbes only plays, 6 snaps? And then the talking point supposed to play Quan Martin over Emmanuel Forbes. How about Emmanuel Forbes and Quan Martin over Kendall Fuller, who probably won't even be here next year because he's an unrestricted free agent. So the contradiction of, we're trying to develop and evaluate the young guys. Same thing with Sam Howell. The reason you keep playing him, might as well. Let's see what we got on him. You know, what we have in Jacoby Brissett. What was the point of benching him there? So the walking contradiction from Ron Rivera is probably the thing I'm most upset about. And I feel like the Emmanuel Forbes situation is like the perfect example for that. Why are we not playing him as much as possible? At the very least, worst case scenario, he has teaching tape for the offseason. Like, okay, when I went against this receiver, maybe if I did this mentally, or maybe if I was a little bit more explosive this way, I should probably change my exercise routine, maybe even my diet. So when I'm all 22, I know, okay, I can fix this. And he has as many snaps of that as possible, rather than when we get to the offseason, he's barely played. Going to Emmanuel Forbes, he has been very disappointing. And just to see another thing, how stuck Ron Rivera and Martin Mayhew were on him. The footage coming out that they wanted him before the draft even started. Christian Gonzalez fell to you. We kind of expected Deontay Banks to be there, but we passed on him, and they were like, we were going to trade up Emmanuel Forbes, and we brought him in to get turnovers, and we're getting less turnovers this year than we did last year. So it's disappointing Emmanuel Forbes a lot, and I'm hoping he can work out, but I'm not too sure about that. Corners, one of our really big underrated in this offseason because, again, Kendall is another agent who knows the regime with him turning 29. We even want to bring him back. And even with Kendall Fuller here, this just says Kendall Fuller, you still need to go corner in the draft earlier than what people expect. So I'm hoping that Emmanuel Forbes can get better, but we're not even getting the snaps to show it.
Oh man, Lou, what's the rookie year for Forbes? And let's just talk about the draft class as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I just think about your and my reactions to the fourth pick on draft night, and I just think about that, and it just plays back in my mind. I'm up here yelling, "I did it, yeah!" I'm thinking we're getting Christian Gonzalez. He fell to us. I remember your video. You thinking we getting Gonzalez?
We were chanting Gonzo. We were chanting Gonzo.
And to see the video afterwards of them, Ron driving to the facility, and their minds were already made up, right? If he was there, they were going to take him. And it didn't matter who fell to them. I mean, that's disgusting. That's gross, and it's a gross negligence. It's gross negligence on their part. And you know what? After seeing this regime and how they operate, I'm not surprised, just disappointed, because these are the people that have been in charge of this organization for the last 4 years. And that's why we are where we are, because of decisions like that one. And we talked about this before, about this draft class and how Ronald conducted himself like this was year 2 of a 5-year deal, right? You start Sam, which I didn't have a problem with. I thought that was the right move and the right decision. But you didn't fortify the offensive line the way that you should have. That was the first thing. The next thing was you brought in Quan Martin in the second round, but there was really no plan for him. Like, if everybody was healthy, he wasn't going to see the field. Unless he wowed them as a nickel, he wasn't going to play.
Nope.
And so you essentially admitted you drafted a backup safety in the second round. You can't do that, right? Then in the third round, same thing. You signed Nick Gates with the assumption he was going to man up center and that Sadiq Charles was going to play left guard and Sam Collins was going to play right guard. So in essence, you drafted a backup center or interior offensive lineman in the third round. Again, another guy that you don't expect to actually help you on the field with snaps in day 2 of the draft. Like, what are we doing right now? Like, these are cardinal sins you cannot commit. And so
don't forget 4th round, Braden Daniels.
Oh,
and we knew he wasn't going to make the roster. I'm like, this dude is a developmental project. You can't be serious right now. The dude, you drafted him, and he was 297 pounds.
He didn't even look like he was going to get through camp practice when I went out there, bro. He looked like he wasn't even going to get through.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me right now. This is the best you could come up with? Like, you need guys to help you now. You're fighting for your job, and you're drafting guys that aren't even – you got to put this man on IR so you don't have to cut a 4th-round pick? Like, seriously, what are we doing right now? I think the biggest reflection and really what I deem to be the biggest microcosm of, Ron's tenure, not to go off topic, but we traded a 5th-round 2022 pick to trade up to select a long snapper who couldn't snap. If that doesn't sum up the Ronald Rivera era here in Washington and his player evaluation and some of the boneheaded decisions that they've made, I don't know what does. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
And then this was a problem that dated back to the preseason. He didn't get rid of the long snapper until the season was over.
Listen to what the man told us. When they asked him about the long snacking problem after the Denver game, remember, we missed a field goal on the opening possession of the Denver game, and then Tress had to save the next snap, from going over his head Knee had to leave the ground and bring it down for him to get the kickoff, right? And they asked him after. That would have been it for me personally, right? We went through this in the preseason, so we already knew that this was the problem. And you know what Ronald said to us? Until it's an issue, we're not making a move. So essentially, what I'm telling you is, until this loses us a game, I'm not gonna do nothing about it. Like there was no proactiveness whatsoever. When it becomes an issue, bro, it's not already an issue. We just missed a kick in the game. It's not an issue already.
Mm-hmm.
But that's Ronald for you, boy.
That is Ron. That is Ron. That's what he do. Look at the draft classes. Last year's second round pick for Bieniemy Mathis. Has he done anything?
One tackle.
Listen, when the pick was made, we all said, what in the hell did we just do? Right? Nobody liked the Bieniemy Mathis pick. Nobody. And you know, a lot of people were trying to sell themselves on, well, they like Alabama defensive tackles, and Deron Payne probably isn't going to be here after the season, so they got to draft somebody. And that was a very bad defensive tackle draft class, 2022 was. So they felt like, hey, this is the last dude of any merit before it literally takes a nosedive off of a cliff. And so we got to get ours. But you reached. That's how you end up drafting bad players. We reached for Jamin Davis in the first round. We reached for Emmanuel Forbes in the first round. You reached for Bieniemy Mathis in the second round. This is what happens when you reach for players.
Dotson
this is the results that you get. So
at this point, Dotson might be a reach too.
I don't think he's a reach, Rio, man.
It's Sam and EB. I mean, it's the offense, right?
Because we know what this guy. We saw what he did last year in limited reps because of the injury. We saw what he's capable of. We know what this dude can do. You give him a better offensive coordinator that's going to move him around. First of all, Jahan is a small dude. One of the struggles coming out of college was he doesn't deal with press coverage very well. He's a small dude, so you can lay hands on him and disrupt the timing of his route. So what do you do with a guy like that? You put him in motion. You put him in stacks. You put him in bunches so that they can't lay hands on him, so they can't disrupt him as a route runner. Mm-hmm. And they just don't do those things. Like, for me, the lack of creativity, the lack of adjusting to the parts that you have has been very frustrating. And I can tell you something else that we need desperately. We need a big receiver, like a guy with like 6'3", 6'4". We need one of those in the worst way. I'm looking at like T. Higgins go and snatch the ball out of the air, reach it over the goal line. And, I talked all that shit about Drake London and how I didn't want him. Boy, I'm so glad Atlanta saved us. We could use Drake London right now so bad. I swear. Drake London made one of the craziest catches against the Saints I've seen all season long. And I'm like, bro, what we wouldn't do to have a guy like that on our football team right now. But
hell yeah. The only person on the roster that even resembles something like that doesn't have playing time, and that's where I want to transition the conversation. What the hell did Cole Turner do to be completely removed from football operation? Rico, do you have the answer? What did Cole Turner do, my boy?
I mean, when I saw he was inactive versus the Rams before the game even started, I was sick. I just don't understand. Again, the contradiction I was talking about. Why are we not playing our young guys as much as possible? I really don't understand what we're doing at all. And right now we lack a pass catching tight end that can really get the offense going. Cole Turner has that talent. Why are we not at least trying?
Man, I just think about what Rico said 2 years ago. Well, it might have been last year, but when he talked about the Hodges, not Hodges,
Amari Rodgers.
Amari Rodgers, right? And he talked about how excited he was about him. And I was like, he ain't making the team. We got like 80 tight ends, bro. And all those injuries happened, and he went out there, and I just think about what he could have potentially been doing in this offense. Yeah. This kind of offense was tailor-made for a guy like him to have a breakout season. Mm-hmm. And I think we missed him more than any player that we, thought we would have this year that ended up getting injured. That really hurt us. But Cole Turner was doing so many good things in the preseason. Who would have thought that this guy just wouldn't get it? Like, it even felt like him and Sam were really building a rapport together, right? And
Logan Thomas was out, and him and Cole Turner had plenty of time to gain chemistry.
And they did. I mean, that Ravens game in the preseason, hell, even the Browns game, like Cole Turner was the dude. Every time he needed a big play on a 3rd and long or whatever, he went to Cole Turner. And there was a play earlier in the season where Cole Turner made a great catch. It was early in the season. Might have even been the Arizona game. I don't remember what game it was. But it was Arizona. He made a great catch on a 3rd down. And I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on? Like, I'm at a loss, man. Like, a lot of the decisions that they've made just don't make sense to me, but I'm not there every day. So it's hard for me to be hypercritical. I don't know if his practice habits aren't up to speed, if there's something that he just doesn't bring to the table. Maybe he's not good enough of a blocker for them. Maybe he doesn't play good enough special teams. I can't put my finger on it, but you can't tell me that there's not a place on the active roster in the game plan for a guy like Cole Turner when we have zero athleticism at the tight end position.
Zero. We're throwing passes. We're throwing screens to John Bates. John fleet-footed ass Bates. We're throwing screens to this guy.
We ran a whip route to John Bates on a 3rd. And you can't make this stuff up.
That shit ain't even developed.
Alex Armaz caught a couple
he
of
didn't
screens
even get
too.
out of the break. Like,
whip ain't even whip.
He got stuck on the whip part of this route. His shit was cemented to the damn ground, right? I'm like, are you kidding me? This is the dude you chose to run that route? We got Jahan Dotson, we got Curtis, and you choose the tight end to run a pivot route? Wow. EB, you mastermind you.
I mean, to your point, we have no athleticism in the tight end group. We have no height in the receiver group. Cole Turner feels like he can fix one of, if not both of those, and we just don't. He's inactive.
I'm convinced that he's been exiled because he was the leak. Like, he was the one bitching to Ron about EB, and EB found out. That's the only thing I could put. He's a marked man at this point. He got exiled because they found him snitching. I don't know what it is, bro. I can't make it.
So I've always said, honestly, I'm gonna ask both of y'all. Honestly, who do you think the snitch was? I got my suspicions.
Gibson.
You thought it was AG. What about you, Rico?
I'm definitely leaning towards AG because he was promised such a big role coming in. And it's just all of a sudden Brian Robinson's getting all of the routes out of the backfield and everything. And he's looked good. But I got Gibson. I'm sorry.
It's 100% in my mind. Unquestioned. It's Charles Leno Jr., bro. Charles Leno Jr. is, first of all, to me, it's got to be a veteran. It's not going to be a young guy like Cole Turner, right? Because you don't have any say so. You're just trying to make it in the league, right? It's got to be an established veteran. Somebody like, why the hell is he working us this hard? We don't need to be doing it. And remember, they would give him, veteran rest days and things of that nature. And, Charles Leno is an outspoken dude. Like, they asked him last week before the game, what can you do to help this offensive line be a better unit, to not give up the pressure? And he got mad. He got pissed off. He's like, look, man, we've been talking about this shit all year long. We talked about the fact that these sacks are not just on the offensive line. He's like, look, I just got to do my job. I ain't worried about nobody else. I just got to do my job. And that, to me, is a microcosm of where we are as a team. Like, we're not playing for the man next to us no more. Everybody's out for self at this point, man. How can I get my shit off, right? And Leno literally said, as an offensive lineman, he's like, look, I'm not worried about nobody else. How can I do my job better? That's it. And I'm like, well, damn. I mean, that's where we at with our shit, right? I mean, to me, that is why Ronald and company have to go, because that's where we are right now. And Montez Sweat said that. Like, we weren't playing for the man next to us. Everybody
was just trying to get to the end of the season.
Trying to get to the end of the season, get to the finish line. It's like having a substitute teacher. We know he ain't gonna be here next year. Like, I'm supposed to behave myself. You ain't my teacher. What you gonna do? Write me up? I'm not getting in trouble. Oh, like, they already know Ron ain't gonna be there. So it's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's mutiny. It's anarchy right now, man. It's every man for himself. Yep. Like y'all said, fighting for that next contract. Hey, look at me. I did something. Next team I might end up going to. Look, I can play. I don't know about the rest of them, but I can do stuff.
Hey, what y'all think about Josh Taylor getting into it with Cam Curl?
Oh man, my boy Josh. My boy Josh. I told him. The only thing I told Josh straight up. Don't delete the tweet. You got to stand on it at that point.
Nah, he deleted it too. I was looking for that shit today, boy. I was
like,
looking
Josh,
for it.
stand on that shit.
He deleted it.
I will say, I wish our players didn't have such active Twitter fingers. Like, y'all niggas have been getting abused for 15 weeks. Don't come at the fans. Don't come at us, bro.
And that's why I'm like, Josh, first of all, I had to clutch. Josh, when Josh said, clearly you didn't, I said, ooh.
Yeah.
He was cooking. He was cooking. He was. I was like, bro, stand on it. Stand on business, Josh.
Nah, but to Cam Curl's, in his defense, he wasn't the culprit. It was Benjamin St.
It was, yeah, he didn't pay.
It was cover 3. He didn't get deep. Cam was supposed to be out in the flats where he was. It wasn't his fault, but and so that's why he took offense to it. But I was like, look, hey, stand 10 toes down in your shit, bro. Like, it is what it is. Like, I mean, that was crazy, man. But I mean,
that's where we've come to.
I'm about to say, and you took the words right out of my mouth. That's where we at with ours, man. That's how bad this shit is now. We got infighting with fans and content creators. This shit is crazy, man.
We had Quan Martin attacking the whole fan base over preseason games. We had Emmanuel Forbes leave all social media to come back because he had a good couple snaps versus the Patriots, reborn like he was Jesus Christ resurrected. And then now we got the Curls, Cam and his father. They're coming at Josh. That was a hilarious exchange, and it happens, but I swear this type of shit only happens here in Washington. Jeremy Reeves does this with somebody every week. Jeremy Reeves usually leaves the game and gets directly on Twitter, mostly because he has the most energy. He makes all his plays on 4th down. So, he's always good to go to get his Twitter fingers active. But before I get to the closing conversation here, Jonathan Allen is a very interesting player. He's kind of like the heartbeat of the team, the vocal leader of the team. He gives the spiel, the remember the Titan speech before every game, and then we don't usually hear his name get called to about once or twice in the second half each week. Would y'all be willing to deal Jonathan Allen, and what do you think his value would be? Because our fans, I think some of them delusionally believe he could get us a first-round pick at age 29 as not an elite player. Where do you stand, Rico?
I think we could hope for a third. I think it's going to be that little play the compensatory pick game, let him walk. I mean, it'll be a while before he can walk because he's on a long-term contract. Now, that does help us in our favor, too, the fact that he does have years left in his contract instead of just like next year being the last year, I believe. But we're not getting the first for him. I mean, first of all, just a defensive tackle in general, but to not also be a defensive tackle that like averages double-digit sacks a season, we're not going to get a lot from him. I love Jonathan Allen, and I know he probably doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild, but I think he's best here, and we're better with him. But if we want to trade him, you're not getting the first.
Hell no. I would argue that there's not a player on the roster that's fetching a first in the trade market. The only things capable of such, if possible, were the 2 guys we shipped out of here at the trade deadline based on projections and the positions they play. Lou, what do you feel about John Allen?
Sweat playing like a first round one. Sorry to interrupt.
Hey, shout out to Sweat, by the way. 12.5 on the season. That boy has become a linchpin face of the franchise for the Bears. Good for Montez.
I'm happy for him too, man. I second that. So tomorrow on my show, I'm gonna have a bunch of off-season hot takes, things that I expect to happen, and some of them are gonna be outrageous for some of y'all. One of those, and I'll just go ahead and tease it now, is Jonathan Allen's getting traded this offseason.
For sure.
He doesn't want to be here, and he wants to win. And the only way I see him remaining here is if the new general manager comes in, and one of his first orders of business is he calls up Jonathan Allen and he has a meeting with him, and he explains to him, hey, we can turn this around right now. We think we got the pieces here in place. We got money. I'm about to go out here and spend a little bit of it. We got draft capital. I don't think we're that far away. You win a few more games last year, and nobody wants to hear the old Bruce Allen close. But that GM comes in here, talks a good game, and says, hey, this ain't no rebuild, bro. And we see you and Terry McLaurin and Deron Payne as linchpins, as the foundation of what we're trying to build here. And so let me cook, right? If he has that conversation with Jonathan Allen, I think he'll be all in, right? But I don't think that GM is going to come in here and have that conversation. He's going to come in more likely than not with the mindset of, if you want out, let me show you the door. I'm going to get a 2 for you because I think you can fetch a 2 for Jonathan Allen. I think you get a second-round pick. If the Giants can get a second-round pick for Leonard Williams, who to me isn't as good as Jonathan Allen, I'm just being honest with you, I think we can get a 2 for him, right? And they got a 2 and a 4 for him. You're not getting a 2 and a 4 for Allen, but I think you can get a 2. You know, there are a lot of teams that could use a defensive tackle. Like Jonathan Allen, first of all, he's playing injured. Like, remember, he has the plantar fasciitis. That doesn't go away until you give it time to rest, right? He still has 5.5 sacks this season. And so I think a lot of teams are going to take all of that stuff into consideration, see what's going on. I don't think we utilize him in the right manner, right? How we rush him or Deron Payne. I think it's malpractice how we use those guys. And so I think teams are going to look at that, and I think you can get a second-round pick for him. And I think that next GM is going to come in here and say, hey, I want people that want to be here, that want to be a part of what we're trying to do. And if I can get something, the faster I can, get these assets together, the quicker I can turn this thing around. So if I can get another second-round pick for Jonathan Allen in the offseason, add it to the 2 second-rounders that we already have, I mean, I could turn this thing around if you get the right players, right? I just look at what the Lions did in the draft last year in the first 2 days, right? People told them that they shouldn't draft a running back. Oh, just Bijan. That's the only running back you take in the first round. I'm like, I'm telling y'all, Jahmyr Gibbs is Alvin Kamara 2.0. And the 2.0 is an upgrade because the dude is way faster than Alvin Kamara, who's a 4.5 athlete. This dude's a legit 4.4 dude, closer to 4.3, right? He can go. And he can catch it. He can run it. Great change direction, good contact balance, everything. They went out on a limb and they drafted him. You see what he's doing. Second round, and they drafted Jack Campbell too. He hasn't really done a whole hell of a lot this year yet, but I think the future's still bright for him, right? Then they go in the second round. They get Sam Laporta. All these tight ends. We were talking about all these first round tight ends, and everybody was gushing over the big Georgia tight end, right? Oh, he's like another offensive lineman and this, that, and the third, and nobody was talking about Sam Laporta, right?
Iowa tight ends, man.
But guess what? Dan Campbell's a tight end, and he knows what a real tight end looks like, right? And who produces better tight ends than Iowa, right?
That tight end factory.
And Sam Laporta is eating good this year. I'm talking about, wow, he's the best rookie tight end in the NFL by far, bar none. And he wasn't the first, the second, or the third tight end taken in the draft. So, I mean, then I'm not done. Like the guy that we wanted, Brian Branch.
Right? We told him we would draft him.
I mean, this dude got like 3 picks this year. He's all over everything that they claimed they wanted in a nickel defender / Buffalo nickel, and they don't draft him, right? We had 2 opportunities to get a Buffalo nickel, right? The safety from Notre Dame was sitting there. We traded back, all of that good stuff. If you wanted him, you could have taken him. He's the perfect Buffalo nickel. And you could have taken Brian Branch, right? And it wouldn't have taken much. All you do is move up a few spots. Clearly, you didn't want him as bad as you said you did. And we saw the video. Ronald wanted Quan Martin, right? Like, literally, Martin Mayhew said, hey, we got some offers. Some teams want us to trade back. And Ronald's like, no, we got to sit here, see if our guy's going to be here. We have to sit here. And Quan Martin was his guy all along. So I just look at what the Lions did and how they were able to get those players in those first 2 rounds and how impactful those guys have been. And I'm like, that could be us, right? Like, if you get it right, it could change the fortunes of your football team so quickly if you have other pieces in place. And that's why it's important. Like, if you can fortify the offensive line and if Sam could be the guy, right? Because if you get a young quarterback, even if that dude is a stud, more likely, like CJ Stroud is an anomaly. That's not what young quarterbacks do.
It's not normal.
You come in and you struggle. You go through the growing pains of adjusting to the speed of the game, adjusting to the verbiage. Like, these dudes are looking over to the sideline and they got pictures of people's faces as the play. Like, they not calling out actual play calls in the huddle. So everything is an adjustment. A lot of these dudes don't even get under center in college. Like, they're in the gun 95% of the time. It was so bad with Kyler Murray. When he came into the league, they would do their victory formation from the shotgun because he was so uncomfortable under center. Like, that's the new age of quarterbacks in college football. A lot of these dudes don't play in pro-style offenses. So you're going to have growing pains if you draft another young quarterback. And you got to be okay with that. If we draft a guy number 2 overall, number 3, 4, whatever, 5 overall, you got to be ready to deal with the growing pains. If you want to run Sam out of here with less than a year of starting experience under his belt, then you got to be willing to deal with a guy that comes in here and might not be ready, and the offensive line might not be ready to protect him either. So, we'll see what happens.
Hell yeah. But imagine that Detroit hits on their first 4 picks of the draft, and we have like 3/4 of maybe 1 hit or 0 hits in the entire draft class. You can go back a couple drafts to find a clear hit here in DC. The Lions go out and get 4 to start the draft. And speaking of Detroit, my favorite head coaching candidates coming there, but I know I'm not going to bury the lead. I know once this season ends, we're going to be churning out all the head coaching, GM option videos and all of that. And I'm going to get to this super, and I'm going to ask y'all one question, and then we're going to get out of here for the night. But shout out to my guy, DC Community Carrot. Big up. Y'all are the 4 Commanders Podcast Media Foundation. Who's more valuable to the team, Curtis or Jahan? Bundle players for DK. The way you spell DK Metcalf is crazy. That looks like a McDonald's Frappuccino. A McCafe.
Oh, wow. Yo, first of all, damn, your ability to decipher that shit is legendary, bro, because I would have struggled with that and just said, hey, bro, I don't know what the hell that is. But, yo, he spelled that shit like he's a member of like a gang. Damn.
That joke, I only got it because I know DK's name is DeKalen, and I immediately picked up on DK because the McCafe part completely threw me the fuck off.
Hey, shout out to DC Community Carrot, bro. Hey, you a real one for that, man.
I'm taking Kirko out of that question that he asked, though. So I'll take Curtis Samuel. He's probably been our best receiver this year.
I'm a Jahan guy, man. Jahan he's legit, man. And I feel bad because a lot of people, just like they were down on Terry, are down on Jahan. And I don't think it's a byproduct of who he is as a receiver. He's a game changer. We just don't get him the football enough. You put him on a different roster, and I'm telling you, he's eating good. I'd say this. I want Curtis Samuel back. I don't know what that price tag looks like. But if he's healthy, he's a damn good receiver. And you can do so much more with his talents that we just haven't exploited.
So
I would love to have him back, but I don't know what that price tag is going to look like.
Yep. And I need to know what scheme we're running. I need to know who's coaching the team and what the offense looks like. Go ahead, Rico.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, you hope it's Jahan Dotson, but Curtis Samuel has literally been our most efficient receiver. Like, he feels like he's has the most chemistry and flow with the offense so far this season. And I really hope we sign him back as well. Just like Louie said, I have no idea what the price tag is looking like. Depending on who we bring in, whether Curtis Samuel likes him or not, he may charge us more, or maybe he's willing to sign back. Hopefully we get the right guy for that. But like, my point is, like, with offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, head coach, whoever it is, coaching matters so much. Because even if you take Sam Laporta and put him on this team, do you think he's having the season that he's having right now?
Hell no.
So it's just like, we gotta hit on coaching. We gotta hit. We got to get the right offense going. Hopefully the right quarterback, we make the right choice there. So hopefully we bring back Curtis Samuel. But a guy like Jahan Dotson is clearly dependent on what the scheme is doing. I mean, I feel like, honestly, he shouldn't have to be, but I guess the scheme is so bad that it seems like he is.
Yep. And closing question before we go, since I'm not going to get into the who exactly we want to be the GM and coach of the team conversation, because that's all going to come at a later date and there's no need to bury the lead right now. What is a decision Josh Harris and company can make that you absolutely would despise? You would loathe it. You would hate it. I will go first and give y'all a second to think about it. If they do the coach-centric model and call 72-year-old Bill Belichick, if that is their answer here for their first hire, big fingerprints all over the organization hire here, I will do my best to try to play it out, but I will hate it so fucking much. Like they've went out and hired Eugene Shin for analytical thinking, game strategy. They go out and hire a sports science guy. Bill Belichick is the fucking antithesis of those things. It's like having one large contradiction in your front office to coaching model. I would hate it. I would despise it. But as a fan of this team, I would try to work with it and give it a chance. But I would hate if they brought in a 72-year-old man who has not done well since Brady left to be the coach, de facto GM, president. That would be moving backwards to me. Louie, what could the team do that you hate?
So I think that's the number one for me, right? Is bringing in Bill Belichick. I'm so adamantly against that. So I think that would be my number one as well. But just to go with something different, we've heard that this team could potentially have a different hierarchy where there's a team president on the football side of the operation above the GM. And then you have the GM answering to him. And then obviously the GM picks the coach, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if I necessarily love that. I don't think I hate it, but we've heard that Marty Herney would be that guy right now for him. He's seemed to have earned a lot of his respect and seems to be a voice that he, respects within the building right now. And so I don't know if I would necessarily love that. And I think the other thing that I really don't want any parts of is I don't want Josh Harris to tell whomever he hires that they have to take any player, like say Sam, for instance, like he has to be your quarterback. That's some Dan Snyder shit, right?
Meddling shit.
Yeah. Like Dan literally told Jay, hey, Robert Griffin III is your quarterback. You got to fix him, right? When Ron got here, hey, Dwayne Haskins is the quarterback. You got to take him and you got to give him a shot, right?
From the yacht.
I don't want Josh Harris telling the new GM that he has to do anything. Just hire him. And from all accounts and all reports, that's not who he is as an owner. That's not how he moves. So I don't expect that to be the case. But you're just making sure that I don't want to hear about that 2 years after the GM has the job or whatever, that, he didn't want Sam Howell or whatever the case was. He was forced to do that. I just want this GM to come in and make his own decisions and just live with the results.
Hell yeah. Rico, what is a move? What is something this team could do this offseason that you would absolutely hate?
Yeah, first of all, I completely agree that Bill Belichick has to be the number one.
Oh my
And
God.
to add to Louis T's part, that whole president model would upset me because that's an additional hand that's supposed to have some type of power, and then it's going to be a weird power struggle because I think Eugene Shin is going to have a lot more power than people think as far as decisions go. But you add a president, then a GM, then a head coach, and we got to see with the defensive coordinator, how much power they have. I think that's just too many hands in the pot there. So I think those are honestly the top two. To add to it, though, I'm afraid of Eric Bieniemy convincing Eugene Shin that, forget Ben Johnson, forget all of these other coaches out there. Imagine what I can do with an O-line or something. I just hope I hope he doesn't fall for that.
Anybody coming back is a problem for me on the staff. And there's some people on the staff that I love. I love the running back staff between Randy Jordan and Jennifer King. Everybody got to go though.
Everybody got that stench on them, bro. Can't nobody come back.
Everybody got to go, man. That's how I'm feeling right now. Everybody.
They honestly, I'm not even trying to sound like that guy. EB, knock out your Rooney Rule interview and just interview EB.
Hey,
so you can just hire
I thought about that. If I'm EB, I ain't taking that damn interview, man. Because I know y'all hiring my black ass. I thought about that. I was like, yo, just knock that joint out while he here and just get that shit over with. But I'm like, That's so wrong. That is like
So
literally
foul.
the antithesis of why they created the Rooney Rule and how people are like utilizing. Like they stick their head out their office and they see the first black person like, "Hey, come here, man, come interview
First
me."
black person that walked by.
So I don't want to
Affirmative
be
action,
like that.
man.
He's got enough of those probably under his belt, having been turned down like 18 times or whatever. I'd hate to make it 19, but I'm like, hey man, bro.
Hey,
I'm
it'll be a
saying.
little tune-up for him. Yo, get ready for whatever interview you got coming outside the building.
He'd have had enough tune-ups already.
Go ahead and finish up though, Rico.
I mean, yeah, that's basically mostly it. Bill Belichick has to be number one.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess to add another fourth one, I prefer to avoid a defensive-minded head coach again
Same.
because they tend to just be a little bit more old school. I would prefer an offensive-minded guy. If anything, let's just try it. Let's just see how it works. I'm not even saying that it's like an automatically going to be an upgrade, but I would prefer to let's just give it a try.
Yep, and appreciate you for the 199 Smack City. Oh, I'm gonna let you know. Oh, let's add another thing to things I would hate: trading for a coach. No, I do not want to trade. I don't want to trade for a coach. I'm cool on it. I don't want to trade for Tomlin. I don't want to trade. I love Sean McVay. Don't want to trade for him. Let's use these picks on players. Y'all talking about not using picks on a quarterback. Why would we use picks on a coach when there are coaches that are going to be able to be interviewed and come in? You can go interview Ben Johnson and hire him, and it's not going to cost you anything but a virtual setup and him coming down to the building for an interview. Trading for a coach, not for it. And this may sound crazy. I think they would be very interested if Tomlin was fired. I don't want Tomlin, and I love Mike Tomlin. I love him. He's one of the best coaches in the NFL. I don't want that. I don't want it. Am I crazy for that?
Nah, you're not crazy, but it'll be a long line, and we'd be one of the first teams in that bitch.
I think we'd hire him.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
we would hire him.
He's from the 757, so he's homegrown product. He probably grew up a Redskins fan, would be my guess. It'd be like bringing him home essentially, and I bet there would be mutual interest between his party and obviously Washington. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but to Rico's point, like one of the biggest issues with Tomlin's tenure in Pittsburgh is his inability to find an offensive coordinator worth a damn, right? So you'd have to essentially find that guy for him, and he might just be like, well, shit, Eric Bieniemy's already there, just leave him there, right? Like that's some shit Tomlin might do.
Oh,
right?
I can definitely see that.
So I don't think the Steelers are getting rid of Tomlin anyway, so I don't think that's going.
They should.
But just to add to the point of Tomlin too, because remember back when Andy Reid was with Philly and everybody was questioning him leaving Philly helped both parties. The Eagles have been going to the Super Bowl. They won one finally. And him on the Chiefs has been excellent. Won Super Bowls and things like that. So maybe it's a situation like that where Tomlin comes to the Commanders, Steelers get better, and the Commanders get better. But for the reasons y'all stated, I am a little reserved on it. I'm a little hesitant on Mike Tomlin. Even though he is a great coach, I am a little hesitant.
I would take him in a heartbeat.
He's a phenomenal coach, and our floor would be significantly higher every year immediately if we hire him. Mike Tomlin is who the NFL thinks Ron Rivera is. The respect and the reverence the league puts on Ron's name is what they think is what Tomlin actually is. That is who Mike Tomlin is. He's a great coach. I just think the league's going in a different direction, and I want to marry an offensive coach to whoever my franchise quarterback's going to be, because when you get the defensive coach, you risk the chance of either firing or losing your OC connection to the quarterback. So I love Tomlin, and I would understand it completely if he became available, if they brought him in, but I want an offensive-minded guy. I'm very close-minded on that topic. But for everything else in the offseason, I'm completely open-minded. Everything else is on the table. Anything like y'all would like to add before we get out of here?
But for the Mike Tomlin point, too, I don't know if y'all saw on The Athletic, it was like an anonymous poll amongst like NFL players. Mike Tomlin was voted coach that we would like to play for the most, like just by players around the league, even outside of the Steelers. But I am with you. Like I would prefer, let's try the offensive-minded head coach thing marry that guy with a quarterback type of situation. But if Mike Tomlin were to become our head coach, I'd be all for it, man. It's
It's a
like,
home
let's see
run.
what happens. He's
It
just
is a
got to
home
hire
run
the right
hire.
offensive coordinator.
That's right.
Yep, it's definitely a home run hire. If Tomlin is the guy, please bring in your own OC, bro. We don't need to bring nobody back, man.
Yeah. That would be the biggest thing with him, like, is finding the right OC to marry with him, and then having it be like, that's the issue, like you mentioned, is knowing if that coordinator is any good, he's going to get a job, right? That offensive coordinator. You have to then have a system in place, whether it's the quarterback's coach or there's some kind of assistant on the staff that you believe in that will be able to just pick up where that coach left off. It's rare that we see that happen in this league, where you lose offensive coordinator of note, and there's somebody. I mean, the Eagles are going through it right now. They lost Shane Steichen. They thought, oh, Brian Johnson, quarterback's coach, he has the relationship with Jalen Hurts, he should be perfect, and they're struggling, right? And he's struggling. And we saw it with the Buffalo Bills lose their offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll, to the Giants head coaching job. They thought, oh, Ken Dorsey, quarterback's coach, got a relationship with Josh Allen. This should be perfect, seamless. They had to fire him, right? So that's the issue you run into when you have a defensive-minded coach, is can you find that coordinator, and then is there a plan in place should that coach get hired to then keep the continuity there moving forward? And that's a tough situation. The best teams, to me, have offensive-minded coaches so that they don't have that issue.
Yep. And when you look at the playoff picture right now, you look at the 14 teams eligible for the playoffs as we speak. I believe only 2 of 14 have coaches that are not offensive coaches. And with the Ravens and who else is in playoff contention right now that doesn't have an offensive coach? I'm trying to think of the playoff picture off the top of my head. I know the Ravens are one because of Harbaugh. That's a special situation. And there's, I believe, one other team. But everybody, the league is going and trending in a direction where offensive coaches are the way to go. Super chat on the way out. Appreciate you, my guy, Brent. Who wins, the 2019 Skins or this team?
Oh, this team by far, man. The 29th, that was the worst collection of talent I've ever seen on an NFL roster in my life. 19 was pathetic, bro. I mean, that shit was so bad. And to think we went into that season with Case Keenum as our starting quarterback, right? And then we went to Haskins. And I truly believe this with every fiber of my being. If we don't win that Dolphins game, I think we go winless, man. I think we go 0-16. Real talk. Like, we were that bad that year. People don't realize we went a whole entire month without scoring a touchdown. Any kind. Like, it wasn't just an offensive touchdown. We did not score a single touchdown for a month. You know how hard it is to do that in the NFL? A month. Yeah, nah. This team would definitely beat the 2019 team without
question. I think the only reason this team just feels worse is because we had higher expectations.
Right.
That has
Absolutely.
The 2019 team was definitely worse.
It's way worse. We knew out the gate we were ass that year. We was like, how bad is it? Like, we said before the season, hey, Jay, bro, you can pack your stuff up right now. Because those first 5 games, we was like, we not winning none of them, bro.
It started fun, too. That first half where we were
introduced. Oh, man, Terry had the touchdown. And Vernon Davis jumping over people on the sideline. What? I think it was 14-0, and then it was like
17-7.
Yeah, and then Deshaun Jackson went off before and after halftime, and we went to sleep after that.
Who was the safety? Was it Madua? No, it wasn't Madua. It was who was the safety? Somebody was just they were running past him every freaking possession.
It was the roster was so bad, I couldn't even tell you who the safety was on that team.
Commanders definitely beat that team, and I'll never forget that season because we were a Dolphins 2-point attempt away from Joe Burrow.
Yeah. In hindsight, you think about that. I just didn't want to be 0-16. I was so happy when they didn't get it. But looking back on it, I'm like, damn, what could have been? And, I don't even know if Dan would have allowed us to take Joe Burrow, right?
Good point.
You never know. He might have been like, nah, we good. Stupid. We got Dwayne Haskins.
Was that stupid, bro?
Yeah, I don't know if we would have even – we still might have taken Chase Young or might have traded the pick. Who knows? But
We would have found a way to Washington it the fuck up like we always do. Shout out to my guy John. He said if we take Ben Johnson, who's the OC, he's the OC if we hire Ben Johnson. He's gonna call the plays, but he may bring over some of Detroit's.
He is.
And Detroit has a star-studded coaching staff. They got Brunell over there. They got Randall L.
That's right. Yeah. Aaron Glenn. Yeah, no, they got a bunch of ex-players, man.
They
a lot of dudes that
played the game. And some more shit in the building, man. I appreciate y'all for coming on with me. Appreciate you, Eric, for the super, man. Anything else y'all want to say before we get out of here, skedaddle for the night?
I'm good. I appreciate you having me on as always, man. It's always a pleasure and it's always a lot of fun chopping it up with you. And again, to everybody out there, to my guy Rico, Ed, who was here earlier, man. Happy holidays to all of y'all, to your families, and y'all be safe, enjoy. If we don't talk again, Happy New Year. Bring in the new year safely again. And, make sure that the next year is better than the past year. You know what I mean?
Yes,
yeah, Rico.
Completely with you, man. Happy holidays. Have a happy new year. Can't wait for when we meet again so we can start to talk off-season and stuff like that. Really looking forward to that because to Louie T's point, man, this season can't end fast enough. I'm tired of stressing about what draft pick we're going to have. Other teams are worried about their playoff seeding. We're worried about our pick seeding right now. I'm so done with this, man.
This Jets game is going to be the worst.
Oh, it's going to
be. The best thing that could happen is if they just play with a running clock. Like, just don't even stop the clock, man. Like, just let that bitch run, right? No timeouts. You can't call time. Just treat this shit like Little League. Just let that bitch run. I was so excited in the first half with the Rams game because the clock was just moving. Then the second half took forever.
Yeah.
Forever. We were killing the Cowboys game because we started a full 20 minutes before that game. And that shit was dragging ass because they had challenges and all kinds of shit. We were killing them. Man, they caught up and passed us in the damn fourth quarter. I was like, man, what the hell is going on? Get this shit over with.
Yeah, man. I want that Jets game to end by 2:30 if possible, man.
We setting records out here, man.
It's gonna be nasty. It's gonna be nasty, man. It might be one of those 9-6 type games that I hope we lose because Arizona could very well beat Chicago and New England has a shot against the Broncos. That's a toss-up type game, even though the Patriots suck. We have a chance to move up more. I want to know when we're picking, and I want this season to get to a close. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas if you celebrate it, Happy New Year, and Happy Football New Year on January 8th, 2024, when Black Monday gets here and we can start anew. And for fans of the younger segment, it's the first time in our fan life we're going to see this team build it up from the ground up, have a true organizational structure with a lot of money, and can just start it all over and do it correctly. That is a beautiful way to sign off. And, hey, be strong. Get through these last 3 weeks. We've been through worse. It's what we do here in Washington. Stay the course because better days are coming. We hope. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Smash that like button. Sub up the channel. If you're not subbed up to those guys, you're crazy. Until next time, we out.